My name's Dara.
Hi, I'm Sean.
And today we are continuing with our 5 love languages by Gary Chapman and exploring all the different love languages so that as couples and whoever you're with, you can get better at loving the people around you. So if you haven't taken the test and you don't know your love language, there's a link below. You can take a free test. Today we are going to be looking at the love language of time.
Time, quality time. Remember that. So I guess most importantly, as people discuss the love language and they start figuring out what their love language is to express that to your partner. I think the most important piece about any kind of relationship is communication, of course. But really, it's about making sure your partner knows your love language, and then give them some tips and hints on how to really fill that love tank, so they're not guessing because they assume something and not the other. But time is one of those ones that, if you don't know what time is, you got a problem, and it's way deeper than a love language issue.
And I think the big thing about for people whose their love language is time, it's about undivided attention.
Right.
It's not, oh, well, we just watched a TV show together. We were both on our phones. We spent time together.
No, that doesn't count.
That doesn't.
I've tried that one, guys.
It doesn't count.
So as far as, let's talk about what is quality time. Okay. Obviously, spending time talking, it's like undivided attention. Like my eyes, I'm listening, I'm relating, I'm understanding the feelings, emotions. It's not just and then slipping your phone open to look or something. It literally means, pay attention. Give quantity of undivided attention.
So there's an old expression that time flies when you're having fun. So I think no matter if this is high for you or low as far as your love language is concerned, when you're with somebody that you love, time will fly if you can find ways in which that you both are enjoying that time together. So I think the first pointer I would give to someone who maybe this one's a struggle for them or it's not something that they necessarily need to feel loved is to find things that you guys love doing together. When you have a common hobby, and no, this can't be if you have kids. Like, that's wonderful to go out to dinner and talk about little Johnny's soccer game, but that's not bringing you guys necessarily closer together as a couple. No. So find a common interest. Yeah. It seems kind of elementary to say, but I know a lot of couples who they have, like, the guy likes to golf and the girl likes to crochet or whatever, and they don't have those commonalities. So, for us,
you got to plan it. I mean, you got to find, like she said, hobbies. But it's not just doing things. It's doing things together. Our enjoyable time is, we figured out a lot about each other during the pandemic.
Yes.
We have a lot of hobbies. We both enjoy music, singing, writing. So we spend a lot of time doing that. Cooking is huge.
Yeah.
We don't have the kids all the time. We're part-time parents as far as the every other weekend. So when the kids come over, they can take away some of that quality time. But if you can figure out ways to involve the kids where it's still quality time as a family, it's the same thing. It applies. It really helps the whole family as one whole unit to really understand that we love them, we appreciate them, and when it comes to our time, making sure that we're taking advantage of moments where other people might be goofing around. We set a lot of time aside to make sure we're continually communicating and building, and and I listen because I love her, and I want to make sure she knows I love her. So
with time, the noun, we know what time means, like we said, but the verb tense of time is to plan or schedule or arrange something. So it's done at a specific time. And, we see this even in scripture at the very beginning in Genesis where time was established and, day and night were separated and God had order in the way he set things up. And then the first thing that he sees when he makes man is that it's not good for them to be alone. So I think this idea of time is kind of built into who we are. It governs our day and our night. And regardless of where you fall on this scale, the people you love are the people that you should want to give your quality time to.
Would you say that God's number one love language is time?
No, I think he embodies them all, but we even see when Jesus like walked the earth that he specifically took time away from everything to spend time with his Father. So I think that time is incredibly important, but we also see that Jesus, through his words, through his we see them all. So I wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable saying this is his number one, but I will say that when someone says their relationship is suffering with God, if you say, well, how much time are you spending, the answer normally
Next to
is
nothing.
is low.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be spending a lot of quality time with God and then not feel close. And the same is true in relationships. The
Yeah.
more time you spend together, I think the more you get to know a person and the more memories you create. So I mean, I think time is kind of one of those things where we can't avoid it. Even if this is something where you took the test and this is like the last thing that you need to feel loved, it's still something your partner might need. And statistically, I think women need the quality time probably more than men.
Maybe.
I don't know. Is there any
Definitely.
truth to what I'm saying?
Well, it's funny as we were talking about this. It's kind of like a known thing for dudes. Like dudes always make jokes about how if you have an open Saturday, don't worry, your wife will fill it. And that's I think women. They definitely have this as a higher love language.
I think they crave it more.
One
Yeah.
of the things I did see when I went to the Google box is statistically, number one love language is gifts. So it's like I think I saw 41.6% of people their love language is. And so if you don't remember, if you don't recall, you typically have a predominant or a dominant love language, and then you have a secondary, maybe even a third. What the internet has told us is that love language of time is the predominant one in almost everybody. So 41, almost half of everybody has this. So it is an item that everybody can understand that they need time. Go to your like buddy, okay, or your girlfriend, okay, and if you never see them and you don't have any kind of conversation with them, and they could be your best friend, but if you never see them spending time with them, they're probably not going to be on the best friend list after 5 or 6 or 7 years. The truth is, even though you have a strong bond together, time is so important for developing your relationship.
And I think it's important to say that like time looks different in different seasons. Even Ecclesiastes, I feel like I'm on a real biblical role here, but talks about how there being a time for everything, a time to be joyful, a time to weep, a time to sow, plant. So I think if you're in a time right now where time is not something that you have a ton of, one, I think it can become an excuse. I think regardless of how little you have, you need to be intentional with it. That goes back to the undivided attention. But know that like different seasons are going to look different. If you're raising young children right now, or if you're more like we are, where we can spend time together because we don't, we're just juggling jobs and we don't have quite as many different maybe distractions.
Right.
But I do have 3 helpful pointers.
Oh yeah, she loves
always.
these pointers. Did you make them all rhyme?
It's not. It's not. There's one cutesy one, but this one's not as creative as it could be. Mainly because I didn't want to make something fit that didn't, and I think these 3 things are really important. And so maybe if someone else can come up with something brilliant, but fortunately I could not. But I do think for time, the number one thing, helpful pointer that I could share would be to find a common hobby, which we kind of already talked about. But that is just, if you have something you both enjoy doing, whether it was with the person or alone, like for me, music, I love doing that by myself. I love doing that with you. Then it's just a very organic, natural way to spend time together where it doesn't feel forced or like you're checking off a box or you're getting brownie points for doing it. Yeah. It's just something that you enjoy. So the commonality of finding something you both love is really huge. The second one is to schedule time regularly. We hear about this like in Christian context a lot about like dating your spouse. And that's a cute way to say it, but really the regular time, scheduling that out, arranging that, the verb version of time is to plan, to schedule. So to be intentional about that.
Oh, yeah. And it's important when, you are dealing with someone whose love language is time as a predominant one.
Right.
Where she is. Mine's not as high. Mine's probably touch.
I guess
and
we
words
should
of
say what ours are.
Hers is
words
a
of
lot
affirmation, time,
yeah.
gifts.
I think you got
touch.
all. Everybody has all of them. I think all of them are really high on hers.
Let's just say acts of service is my lowest. That's
Okay.
all I know.
Okay, well, we'll go with
Yeah.
that. But it's important to not mess up and unschedule an event. So I found with her, if I need to cancel something or somebody calls me and is like, hey, let's get together on Saturday, and then they call me Saturday morning, is like, hey. My life's turned upside down. I can't make it tonight. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Whatever. With her, if I tell her like, hey, in 7 months we're gonna have this date. That
Oh,
we're
I
gonna
know
go
where this
to.
is going. This is a true story.
And
Okay, it was
also-
COVID though. It wasn't your fault.
I bought some tickets to go see a concert.
Yeah.
And the concert got canceled.
It was sad, but it happens.
Needless to say, she was like, but that was our date. Like, what do you mean it's canceled? I'm like, I can't change the flight plan. We got a pandemic going on. But what I'm saying is the things
Stick
that
with
you
your
can,
plans.
stick with it.
Yeah, if
Because
you can. Yeah.
Someone like her, it really upsets her when even if I say, hey, let's go out on Saturday, and then all of a sudden I have something I have to do, it upsets her. It's not that she's mad, but in her mind she's like, she gets really bummed.
Yeah.
And
I think that goes back to like childhood. Is it a source of joy or pain or neutral? Like
Right.
the time I spent as a kid with my dad, we both had the common hobby of music. So we would just listen to records and we would spend so much time together through music that it's a very joyful memory for me. So I feel like because of that, it's something I look forward to, and
Right.
it's coming from. But as I got older in different relationships, when time was abused or I felt neglected because other work or other things were more of a priority,
Right.
then it became kind of a source of pain. So I do think some of this traces back to your past, and if time was something that you saw love through.
Yeah,
Pri-
and
you know.
hitting on that, is we've talked about before if you watch the other pieces of this, but your love languages are really developed early in your life. From probably what I've seen is about 0 to 6 years old is where the children learn how they are loved by whoever is taking care of them. So in her case, quality time was a big one for her dad. He spent tons of time when he was around really focusing on her and making sure that she knew she was loved by him. And so now later in life, I get to deal with that in a good way.
Deal.
Yeah, but it's so bear that in mind as you're spending time with your children. Make sure that it's quality time. If it's no time or the time you do spend with them, you're just ragging their butts, and they start to not appreciate time because they do want to avoid you. And when you see these kids turn 13, 14, 15 and they can't stand you, it's probably because they're emotional wrecks. They have no idea what's going on. But probably a lot of it is the quality time that you did spend with them was something they saw in a good way. So spend good quality time with them. Now let's talk about.
Okay, I have a third point.
Okay. Oh, we got a third one. on
Yeah,
this one.
sorry.
So first
So,
was a common hobby.
Common
second
hobbies,
was-
schedule dates regularly, and then this was the only cutesy one,
Okay,
sort of.
we'll go with that.
If you've seen the movie Eat, Pray, Love, because the idea is, I feel like you can spend a lot of quality time over a meal. Like, and maybe that's just my heritage, but you see, and especially in other countries more so than America, that gathering around a meal is really huge to that quality time and showing love. And praying together. I think that's super important. And you might be thinking, well, is that really quality time? I think nothing draws you closer than if you're pursuing God in your relationship. So I think praying is a form of quality time with your partner and to God, and making sure he's the center. And then love, I think there is scheduling out that time to have intimacy.
Right.
I think, and that could go towards touch, but when we looked at touch, we saw it's for people who have touch, it's not always about the desire or sexual, it's about the comfort or the care, security. So I do think that the quality time, is definitely, that's a part of it.
So is there too much quality time?
You're asking a person who loves to be with people. And here's what's really interesting. I think, yes, there is. But here's something that's interesting is that we're both extroverted. I think any test we would take, we would come back through the roof. In fact, through like premarital counseling stuff, we've seen that like when it comes to being social, like you and I are like the highest you can get on the chart. So for me, spending time, there's not too much with people because I just love people, and I would rather do any activity with someone than alone. But I do think that it can be abused, just like not spending time with someone can be very neglectful and hurtful to them. Spending too much time and not having some kind of boundaries or recognizing that, there are things that need your attention outside of a relationship. Because you see that with young couples a lot, where it's like they have to be on the phone all the time or texting. They try to go out with their friends, but it's still really about their person. And then you're not giving them the time they deserve because they're too wrapped up. So I do think there can be such thing as too much.
Okay, so on that is, I would add one little asterisk to that, is the time you spend with somebody, make it good.
Make it count.
Oh, yeah, it's because, like if you have a friend that comes over all the time and you guys always get along, awesome. But then you might have that friend that always comes over, but they're always just dragging you down. It's like they want to talk about their work or some kind of pain point or their relationship. And it's like, okay, I love you, Susie, coming over and hanging out, but all you do is nag.
Well, I think that gets onto a totally different topic, really.
Well, I mean,
because that's choosing the people you spend your time with wisely.
Well, let's just say in a relationship, if every time we spent quality time together, all you did was just, give me a hard time, nag at me.
Be joyful.
Be joyful,
yeah.
Because that makes it so that, you're not looking at the next time you guys hang out as like, oh, am I gonna be in trouble? Are we gonna spend quality time together and next thing I know, we're digging up history and past or, things I might have said or, whatever. So just make sure when you guys are spending time together, that's one of the things I really love about her is it never feels like a chore. It never feels like, okay, we spend quality time together, and every time we spend quality time together, it feels like we get closer. I feel like I love her more. And
so funny story.
Okay, funny story.
So we got to spend a lot of. So if you're wondering kind of how's the best way to spend quality time together, I think it's through like road trips.
Oh gosh.
Because through a road trip, you're kind of just like stuck in the car with somebody. And so, I mean, that goes back to, it can be really dreadful. Like it can be one of those things where like somebody's nagging or bringing up all these bad things about who you are. And then it's just like, oh my gosh, how much longer is the drive?
Hold on. Let's get very specific on this. Okay. So, Dara and I have planned some trips and
this is where it gets funny.
Yeah. So, so we go to
Colorado.
We're heading into the Denver airport to come back home, and we find out that we are in the wrong airport. We were supposed to be in Dallas, coming to Denver. In other words, tickets were purchased the wrong direction.
Okay, so I was trying to find good deals, so I decided to do one ways because I found like some loophole where you could get a better deal that way. But then in the grand scheme of having all my different tabs open on my computer, I accidentally
bought plane tickets the same way twice.
Yeah.
So now we're stuck in Denver and we can't get home for a while.
Yeah.
So
my bad.
Yeah. So then the best plan is
really
just
bad.
Rent a car. We're just gonna drive it home.
Yeah.
And sitting in the car with her, definitely I would classify as quality time.
It was quality time,
especially because most of the time there's terrible reception. You can't even get internet on some of this. So it's literally silence, and whatever direction I took like the shortest cut through it, but I didn't realize it was
like through like
farms.
Like, oh my gosh,
it was fields for a mile. So
but I was also so mad at myself for being so dumb and not booking the right thing, because I normally am pretty travel savvy, that I was like in a bad mood for.
She was in a bad mood for probably like 6 hours.
I was so mad at myself, and not even at him, just mad at myself for making such a dumb mistake. So that was not quality time.
Quality time. No, that is. I get double point quality time.
Sure,
with that one.
But since then, like there was this freak of nature storm that we had to then drive home because we couldn't get a flight back because everything was canceled. So we've had a lot of bonding over road trips. So if quality time is your thing, I highly suggest you going on a trip and just screwing it all up. So you have to be in the car with the person you love so much.
I would say after she got done being grumpy about her mistake, the rest of the trip was very delightful.
Yeah.
And the other trip back when we had to rent another car to get home, we had a great time the whole time.
We did, yeah. Because that one wasn't my fault.
And I think throughout the duration of COVID, I think was and that's kind of a testament to you and your relationship at home.
If you're still happy with the person.
Yeah, I mean that says a lot. I mean, luckily with us, we got along the entire entire time. I don't remember fighting at all.
We cooked a lot.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot
now
of
we're
cooking.
having to go back to the gym.
Yeah, thanks.
Because all we did was cook.
Yeah,
But
it was COVID-19. COVID like 40. That's what I call it.
it was rough, but we had fun.
As far as now, how do you handle it if you are away from your spouse? Okay, so like let's say I have to go out of the country for 3 or 6 months, and quality time is something big for you. How do you handle something like that?
Yeah, I actually have that too. What do you do when your time is limited due to work or some circumstance? I mean, I think it goes back to realizing that it is a season. I mean, no relationship I know personally, I can never do a long distance relationship indefinitely.
Right.
Like, where it's like, okay, we've got to do this okay, I shouldn't say indefinitely. Like, we've got to do this for 4 years because one of us is away doing their masters or something. I don't think I would do well. Like, knowing time is important to me. But if it was a season of life where it was there was a beginning and an end date to it, I think you have to make sure the other love languages are really being fulfilled. Right. Even to a higher level through words, through little gifts. I sent you flowers, different things to just let the person know how loved they are, knowing that the time is shifted. It's going to suffer because, I mean, yeah, you can FaceTime or whatever. I don't know, go on some virtual.
Yeah, virtual tour. Okay, so
museum.
I might have invited her to go to a virtual zoo.
I wasn't going to go there. It's too late now, though.
But
see if this appeals to you.
So,
Let's see if I'm alone.
Sometimes, you can't get out with the COVID world. Everything's shut down, but you can do a virtual tour. Ooh. How exciting. Nothing like walking through a museum on your
But what
computer.
was it, though?
Yeah, it was boring. Okay,
it was a zoo.
You know what? It doesn't matter.
I don't want. I can look at Google
I was trying to
elephants.
think out of the box.
It was cute, but that might not be quality time to your partner.
And if you've ever actually been to a zoo, you never actually see the animals anyways. On the virtual tour,
you
get to see them all. Like, the lion that's been hiding for like 4 years that you don't even know if it even
He's
exists.
there.
Ta-da! Magically, they got him out. So as far as things you can do, understand when you guys have to be apart, whether it's a weekend or, a month or a year, or maybe you're going on a mission trip or something. Then, understanding you got to fill the other spots. Make sure that she really knows or he knows that you love them. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side is understanding that even though it's called quality time, make sure you at least do time. And one of the things that I was reading up, it was said that it's best for people to start and end the day together. That's huge for quality time people, is making sure that in the morning you guys do some time. And I'm not saying like you got to sit down and spend an hour, but making sure you give undivided attention in the morning. And when you go to bed, make sure that, so if you're apart,
do some time. It sounds like jail.
In the morning,
gotta do some time.
Do some time. Hey, you got to put in the time. You got to get on parole.
You can tell how we differ in these a little bit.
There's a slight difference.
But time flies when you're having fun.
And one of the things, like what we do in the morning is, I make sure that I say goodbye to her like 2 or 3 times, and it's obnoxious, like where I say, okay, I'm off to work, bye, baby, okay, and then I walk away and I hide around the corner.
That's so
and then I sneak back in. Hey, I just want to say goodbye. And she's like, but sometimes I'll forget, and I'll be like, okay, bye, baby.
And then he actually leaves, and I'm like, wait, where's the
second one? I'm like, you can't use that against me.
Yeah,
no, that kind of. So I guess just once in a while, you just got to just leave on the first one so she can appreciate the second and third one.
Yeah.
As far as people, okay, so I did look up like the highest populated states for all the different love languages. Texas and Florida. What do you think Texas and Florida's number 1 love language is?
I would have said touch. I feel like Texans are very touchy.
Wrong. Gifts. Come on. All these Texas people. We like. Give us an oil field. Go out here and give us a surfboard.
Bigger is better. I don't know. Okay.
No, gifts.
I just feel like people are touchy.
California, which I'm not surprised in this one, is acts of service. Okay.
I don't know why.
You're always hugging trees out there, I think. I don't know what you California people do, Make movies, hug trees, whatever.
Yeah, total acts of service. We haven't done that episode yet, clearly.
But what I found was interesting was the northern part of America, for the most part, is quality time.
Which I'm surprised.
I was too. Like Alaska, number 1. You got Washington. You got Maine. Everything on the very top, for the most part, is quality time. And I'm not too sure why. It's an interesting thing, but that's maybe it's just the pace.
So if you said like New York, like northern, I I would have thought like, okay, that's weird because people are so busy.
Right.
That time is maybe something they wish they had more of, but it maybe wouldn't be something that was huge because they're used to working at a fast pace.
Yeah, you don't have time to give, so it's
So,
never
I
been
don't know.
demonstrated. So it's one of those where, I don't know if it's necessarily relevant to where you live or with the climate or how much sun you get. But it was
Yeah,
interesting when you
it is
actually
interesting.
look at the map and you see how it really is so much time on the top and everything else is
Yeah.
other.
I see, and I would think like Europe, from what I've seen from traveling, it seems like
see that.
European countries, family and like they do not like live to work.
Yeah.
There's a huge like intentionality about drinking a glass of wine, hanging out in outdoors and just talking, and it seems like time they really value it with the people they love. So
Yeah.
I would see like Italy, places I've gone, time seems to be a major focus in where they put their attention, and you don't see people on their
it
phone.
does. Yeah,
It's
I would
different.
totally agree.
So,
You
I don't
you
know.
see it all the time in the movies.
Weird.
You know, they all sit down, they have like 13 courses in their food.
Yeah.
And they all just sit around drinking 2, 3, 4, 12 bottles of wine because they drink a lot of wine. But as far as how to deal with being apart, being together, not diminishing someone's time they're spending with you, and being a good time taker
Yeah.
is important. But when it comes down to, here's a personal example. Okay, so again, time's not terribly huge on my list. It is with her, but early in our relationship, Dara liked to just like dream and talk about like the future plans and the bucket list and all these things, and it's something I never did, and it's perhaps because it's not a time thing. Apparently with people that like time, they like to dream. And so early on we would sit down and she'd be like, well, let's dream about the future and have these kind of conversations. And I was doing minimal input, and it got to the point where she's like, do you not even care about the future? Is this not important to you? And it wasn't until I started doing research on this that I realized, oh, she wants to talk about dreams and all this bucket list stuff because time is so important on her list. So with someone that is big on time, make sure that you are having those kind of conversations. You don't want to be just a reciprocal of conversation. So if we sat down for quality time and she's going on and on and on, and I'm just sitting there going, yep, oh, interesting. What happened? For contributing back to the conversation, I think it's important for, if you can dive down that rabbit hole of the bucket list and the dreams, it would be engaging for them. So I didn't know this, and so I'll make sure that in the future we talk more about, before I die, things I wanted to accomplish. It sounds real romantic.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
And then maybe I can convince her to go, parachuting or something, bungee jumping. Over a cliff, on a bridge.
I'm like so afraid of heights, but so are you. So
Yeah.
that's why this is funny.
But I'm
like
just slightly less afraid of heights.
He
so
bought
I
a
can-
Groupon to go jump out of a plane. What is that called other than crazy? What is it?
It's skydiving. Yeah.
Skydiving. Thank you. I
Yeah.
couldn't think of the. And then he's like, I don't know why I did this. I'm like, well, first of
Actually,
all,
I was fine with it till I watched a clip. Have you ever
No.
watched someone jump out of a plane? Like
couldn't pay me.
and
You
they
couldn't
open,
pay
it's
me.
like a garage door. They just open the side of it and everybody just belly. I'm
you,
like,
you
ooh.
couldn't pay me to
Nay.
do it, professionally. But that is a situation I would not be using a Groupon.
Right.
I'm
okay,
sorry to
so-
say, I wouldn't trust it. But anyways, I
So
don't know how we got on that.
When it comes to quality,
Quality
time, one of the things that you did get upset about was the concert. Okay, so my question is
Mm-hmm.
concert going to listen to music together, just the you and I,
Mm-hmm.
would you consider that quality time? Because it seems like that would be the same as us watching like a movie or something. Oh, we did go catch a movie last night.
We
was
did.
last night quality
Yes.
time?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're alone,
Okay, here's how I see it.
Okay.
Okay. So Netflix, chilling on the couch in pajamas, you're scrolling your phone, you're watching a show together, but it's kind of like just to unwind. Probably not quality time for someone who like really needs it to feel more like a date night.
Okay.
But like intentionally like going to a movie, getting dressed, like grabbing a Slurpee and popcorn, going to a concert together. It's a bonding thing. We both like the same band. You're there together. You're creating that memory. Like that's intentional time. Even if you're not having an eye contact conversation, you're still doing it together. And so it fulfills that, I think.
So if I wanted to
It's-
just
it's-
watch
it's a
like
date. That's
a
a date.
Netflix, I just need to like take you outside and put it on like a projector or something, and then we can watch
I mean,
Netflix.
if there was like a whole picnic and it was outside and it was like
So
this
it's all the
huge,
energy.
undivided
Okay.
attention of here, I set this up for a date. Sure.
What if I come to the couch to watch Netflix, but I wear a tux and you wear a prom dress? Would that count? Because you're dressing
Well, you
up.
know, if you've watched the one on gifts, that I'm big into themes. So if you could find some like theme about
Yes.
like blast from the past, and it's like this whole 90s theme, and we're gonna get dressed up and you're gonna make it like super cool with like, I don't know, some party balloons. Sure.
Well, okay.
But
let's
I'm
get
talking
information.
more about like, I don't think people who crave time like necessarily think watching Netflix or grabbing like Chick-fil-A fast food and eating quickly like, oh, well, we spent time together.
Okay.
It's more like, oh, this was a planned out date.
Okay. Well, good to know.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, I think, you know, here's what's funny as we kind of talked about this topic, you know, and I'm trying to express to her that love language of time, quality time has never been high on my list. You know, she got offended. She's like, well, you don't like spending time with me. And here's what I realized is, no, that's not the case. It's what it is, as we got into a relationship, you know, spending time with her has been wonderful. So, you know, this, I think it has a testament to her that she's a wonderful person to spend time with, but it's also, it makes that less of a burden. I don't feel like, I mean, we spend a lot of time together.
Yeah,
and,
we do.
And it doesn't feel like bad. I really enjoy spending quality time with you. You know, the conversations we have, it's nice. So when it comes to you and your relationship, you know, you know, maybe, you know, if you are not high on time, it's just doing the right activities that make it more fun, you know, and maybe when you start diving into the quality time, communication opens up huge. And so it's like, I learned more about her because of all the time we spent together, means that I actually found more commonalities with her that we could, you know, like, you know, I found out, you know, she likes Jim Carrey. She's, you know, and I like Jim Carrey. So that gives us something to talk about, you know. And so it's even like during the day when I'm thinking about her, I'm missing her. Sometimes I'll scroll across something when I'm goofing off, and it reminds me of some kind of conversation I had with her. And I go, oh, she's going to appreciate this meme. And so I'll send her a funny meme. And when she sees it, she realizes, oh, he was paying attention, you know. And so I think that, you know, when it comes to having somebody, you know, and this could be a buddy of yours or it could be at work too, is when you do spend time with them, you know, make it enjoyable, which she does a great job of, and hopefully I make it enjoyable.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I'm pretty lame, but it's important for you to use that time to dive down that rabbit hole and understand what's going on in that thing. So, you know, it helps me sometimes understand what her, you know, fears are, and what things are nagging on her or bothering her. So then when we get over to the prayer part, or when I am praying even by myself, I go, hey, would you, Lord, look after blah, 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 because I know that this is something that's bothering her. But we would have never known that had we not spent quality time together. So
I think like if this is something you struggle with, find that common hobby so that it becomes something that you're enjoying, and obviously they're going to sense that joy, that it doesn't seem like an obligation. And if this is something that's important to you, then it's okay to also initiate the dates and also initiate that time if it doesn't come easy for the other person. Like when we were first dating, we would like try to surprise each other and kind of outdo each other with
She
fun
still does
dates.
it. You
I still do
you
it.
surprised
Yeah.
me last night
But
with tickets to
I
go see the movie.
exactly.
You know?
So like, but I
Don't
because
put it all
was
on me. That's what, you know.
Yeah.
The two of us work together as a team to make dates and make special quality time.
right. But like
She even went and watched a basketball game with me. She hates basketball. And here it is. She's spending her evening with me, rooting on a team she has no idea is. But when we got done.
The point that I'm trying to make is that if this is important to you, don't just complain about it and hope your person gets better at it. It might be a weakness. So plan some things to show that, hey, this is important to me. I'm going to take you out and have fun so that you can see that this is something that like could be a source of joy for us both.
And this is why it's so much fun to do it, is because, look, here's what I did. Did you not have fun? Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do more of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good. Well, other than that, I wanted to tell you a little bit about that, and make sure that you guys understand where I come from. I think she's demonstrated where she comes from. Hopefully you guys learn something, and if you have any recommendations or any other tips, please let us know and let everybody else know. Most importantly is keep your relationship strong and full of love. And again, quality time is huge for everybody. So until next time, thanks for spending your time with us. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you soon. Anything else? Okay, well, good. I think it was good.